Hi. We'll do the second half of the syllabus now, and I thought I'd include my face so you can kind of see who I am for those of you who don't know me. The technology integration report is the next piece of this class. It's sort of the midterm for the class. And in this, you'll write a brief paper, 2 to 3 pages, and I've laid it out here pretty carefully as to what I'm expecting. So this is not a creative writing effort at all. It's pretty prescribed. I'm going to want you to talk to 2 teachers at any grade level. Doesn't matter. Even if you're planning on being an elementary teacher and all you can do is get a hold of like your old high school English teacher, that's fine. What I want you to do is ask the teachers about teaching pre-COVID and now during COVID. What is that experience like for them? And then in this particular essay, what I'd like you to do is write about who those teachers are, where do they teach, what do they teach, and then ask them these questions. How they use technology pre-COVID and now, what are their favorite websites or apps that they're using? Have those changed from before COVID to now? Like, is there something they use now that they're like, oh my gosh, I cannot live without a particular type of technology? And then what kind of problems do they face using technology during COVID, but also pre-COVID? What were some of those challenges for them? You're going to write a 2 to 3 page paper. You're going to include in it 3 articles that you've read in our class. So you don't have to go out and find new articles, but 3 articles that you've read in our class. And by the halfway point of this semester, you will have read at least 3 articles. Your paper will have an introduction and a conclusion. Your paper will describe where the teachers work, the grade level. You don't have to give their names at all, but do they teach in a large public high school, a small rural elementary school, or early childhood center? You might have a kindergarten teacher. Do they teach in person? Do they teach hybrid? Are they only teaching remote? Do the kids come, one cohort comes 2 days on Mondays and Tuesdays, the building is cleaned out on Wednesdays, and then there's another cohort that comes on Thursdays and Fridays, very common. Or is the teacher teaching hybrid, where some kids are in the classroom and some kids are at home? So it'd be interesting to know that. And then in your conclusion, I want you to talk about what insights you have now into technology and how it's used in the classroom, and how this might influence your own work with children. Your paper should have a cover page and a bibliography. Those are separate from that 2 to 3 pages. You're going to use APA format. You're going to submit it to Blackboard. And I give you 2 chances to submit this paper. So if you give me a first round with it, and I think you can do a better job, and you think you can do a better job, you can get a higher grade. Everything you submit in this class, I'll give you 2 chances, but especially with this paper, I want you to really think about how you can do. If I give you feedback where you can grow, I would like you to resubmit. I'm not your editor, like I said, but I do know that the Writing Studio, BSU Writing Studio, is there for you, and they can help you out. Even just having them read over your paper as someone who doesn't know this field of study might be very helpful. Might help with clarity. In about mid-April, I would like you to submit to me your curated professional Instagram or Twitter account. So on that account, you should have 2 accounts. You can kind of decide which one you want to work with and which one makes the most sense for you to work with. Like, oh, I really like working on Instagram, or I'm a really visual person, or Twitter works just great for me. And they're not your personal accounts. I don't want your personal accounts. I don't want to see like when you went over to visit your friends, which you shouldn't be visiting your friends because it's COVID. So what I want to know is where you are as a professional. So if you chose Twitter as your professional curated account, you need to make at least 10 original posts, you need to do at least 10 retweets, and you need to follow 25 educational accounts. So on April 15th, I'll start looking at your account and seeing if you've done those things. You don't really have to do anything, except you will post early on, by the beginning of February. You're going to post your Twitter and Instagram accounts to our shared Google Doc. But the curated one, you're going to let me know and I'll ask you to send me an email saying, oh, Dr. Ringo, look at my Instagram or my Twitter account. That's the one that I've curated. And if you choose Instagram, you make 10 posts or 10 reposts to your story. So you might take something that you might have seen from Edutopia or We Need Diverse Books, and you want to post that to your story. And there's something about using technology for reading in the classroom. You may not post pictures of anyone under 18. So when you make your posts, don't be posting pictures of, like, if you end up working in a classroom or you're working with kids or you're a nanny or something, don't do that. If they're your own children, then that's your own business. But I would stay away from that if this is your professional account. And then you, again, on Instagram should follow at least 25 educational accounts. And I'll go in and I'll look at who your followers are or you are following, and look to see what accounts you have. All your posts are about education and education technology base. If you make 30 posts, if you've posted 30 times on Instagram, at least 10 of them need to be educational. If you also decide, like, oh, I want to show that I went for a walk in the woods with my dog, and or I was watching a program on television, I watched something on Netflix and I saw they were using technology, made me think of this class. That kind of stuff is great and it's fine, but make sure you have 10 that are, solid posts about technology and educational technology in particular. You need to make sure that all of your accounts are up on the Google Doc by March 13th. And that really should be the date by the time you have told me which one you're going to want to be curating, which one you want me to pay attention to. I'm going to ask you to create a website if you have had me before as a teacher, and I've been honored to be your professor previously. Then you may use the website that you created for me in a previous class. If not, this is a great opportunity for you to create a professional website. You can use Weebly or Wix. Those are the two most common. Sometimes people use Google Sites as well. And whichever one you like, and if you, like I said, if you have one either from a class that I taught you or from someone else's class, you are more than welcome to use it as your base and then add on these sections. I need to be able to see a draft, which would just include like a link to your website as well as the pages or sections that are listed here by March 1st. That's just so I know I can get into it and I can email you back and say, or message you back on Blackboard and say, like, hey, I can't get into your website. And that just helps us so that on May 3rd, you're not like scrambling to give me access. By May 3rd, you can send it to me earlier, but May 3rd is the due date. This is really a compendium of all the things we're going to be talking about during the course of the semester. So all of this here is explained in quite a bit of detail as you go through it, and you can get started working on this whenever you want. If you are like, you have some free time right now at the beginning of the semester, this is a great thing to get started on. The media sections is this first section, a recommended list of apps and web-based technology. The second section is on teaching strategies. And then the third one is pretty easy. It's just links to your social media. And then this last section is your personal additions. Like anything that you've found, you might include some of the pieces from your technology, from your discussion section. You might talk about some of the things that you learned from the teachers that you talked to. Any of that can go in there, or it can be something else that that you've found and you're really interested in. Finally, at the end of modules 2, 3, 4, and 5, you will have an exit slip. And that exit slip will be virtual. And so you're going to, for one, you'll do a Kahoot, which is, if you haven't done them before, they're kind of fun, and it'll be an online quiz. The second one, you'll participate in a Flipgrid. Again, any of these, if you haven't done them before, you're going to be a pro by the end of the class. You'll participate in a Padlet, and then there'll be a Wakelet, which is sort of like a website for our class, and you'll contribute to that. You'll also, because remember this is a writing intensive class, you're going to be writing 3 short papers. And those papers, you can pick the date that you want to post, you want to share those with me. You'll see them on Blackboard as text short 1, text short 2, text short 3. They only need to be 2 pages, no more than 2 pages, and you should discuss these 3 of these questions, or you may add in a question of your own. So choose from these questions at least 2 of the topics you're going to be writing about, and then you may pick a 3rd topic that is just something you're interested in, something that you've done some reading on, not your discussion topic, but it could be something else that you're using in your website, for example, but only one sort of free topic about whatever you're interested in. And like I said, you can pick whatever date you want to do them, but you should have 1 every month. So 1 in February, 1 in March, and 1 in April. Again, something that you might want to get started on sooner rather than later. Though you can pick doing it for February 28th, March 31st, and April 30th. That's fine. It doesn't matter to me. And then this is our course schedule. It's a little tentative because as I find things, I will really want to include them in our discussions and in our modules, but I'll pretty much stick to this overview with an overview of like computing and society and digital citizenship, some of the research behind it and the models of learning that we have, topics on equity and online learning, which I think are very telling. And then the week of March 14th to March 20th, beginning with our Wellness Day on March 12th, is going to be a catch-up week for all of you, and an opportunity for you to submit some work that is due during that week, a time when, if you need to, you can meet with me. I would love to meet with you, but it will give you a chance to kind of like make sure that you are ready for the second half of the semester and you've gotten all of your materials in for the first half of the semester. And Module 4 will bring us, and Module 5 will bring us through April. We're going to talk about, I think, what you'll find are some really interesting topics and some things that are, I think, very important when we talk about technology, because we're talking about teacher development and then our move into robotics and simulations. And so that is all here, and we'll end with new material on the 28th, but and our wrap-up week will be that week before everything is due on May 3rd. So you'll see that is the due date. We don't have a final for this class, and for completely asynchronous classes, we don't really have a final date. So you have until May 3rd to hand in all your materials. If you need some support in extra time, let me know. We have a little bit of wiggle room there in terms of getting materials in before the end of finals. So the last part of the syllabus is really just information on the Teaching and Technology Center, what are our cease dispositions, which are very important to us as teachers in the College of Education and Health Sciences, and then finally the Academic Achievement Center information and the one-on-one coaching that they provide. So I hope this was helpful for you, and again, after you go through the syllabus, make sure you reach out to me and let me know if you have any questions.